So what you been up to, Ricky? You kind of look different today, Ricky. You have this kind of
I,
look about you.
I've been sick.
You've been sick.
I've been sick.
Yeah, you look kind of pale.
Uh,
Normally you don't wear a hat. Oh, that's right. Ricky is not on with us tonight because he's worshiping the porcelain throne. So we do a shout out to Mr. Ricky Pope. We hope things end up well for him. End up well for him. But we really care, and we're really, our wishes and prayers are with you, Ricky. We hope everything follows through. Oh, followed through. Uh, oh,
this too
okay.
shall pass.
There you go. Anyway, yes, we just lost a
Unless
person.
Gandalf's involved, and in that case,
Yes.
none shall pass. And Ricky
There we
is
go.
in for a difficult time.
On that note, let's start the show. This is the Speaking Nerdy Podcast. My name is Mike Schilling, and my good friend Ricky Pope, who's not here tonight because he has the rumble tummies, but here in the co-host seat, Mr. Florida Man, Todd VC.
And I'm
Hello.
strapped in. I am wearing my seatbelt.
That's right. Yeah, you can tell tonight that the radio tones of Ricky Pope is not here tonight because he has some business to take care of that we're going to leave that alone. So anyhow, tonight we're going to talk about let's introduce our guest. We have a guest tonight, and let's get ready to invite him. We do have a guest. Here we go. Hey. That's right, Mr. Darryl McCarty. Thank you for joining the Speaking Nerdy Podcast.
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
Good. Tonight we're going to talk about the in 1979, I'm 79 when Star Wars first came out. New Hope. Go back. Yes. No. Yes, it is. We'll go with that. You can fact check us. Anyhow, after that, it was a phenomenon. After that, everybody wanted to cash in on the Star Wars craze after it first came out in 78. That's right. I said 78, not 79. So since then, there's several movies that try to cash in, and we're going to talk about those movies tonight that try to be like Star Wars, but they epic failed. And some of these movies you might enjoy, some of them I enjoy myself, but they did not make the stardom of Star Wars. Also, we're going to talk about a little bit of the happenings of the week, some stupid news, and on top of that, we're also going to talk a little bit about some of the films that actually was inspired by Star Wars that not actually Star Wars. So anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about that too. So first thing, we're going to talk about the news of the week, and there's a lot of stuff going on. And one thing I'm looking forward to, and we will be covering it next Wednesday. Hopefully Mr. Ricky Pope will be back with us. Yes. We're going to cover DC fandom. Yes, sir. DC fandom is coming out the 16th, this Saturday. I believe it's between 1 and 6 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken, Central Time. A lot of big news, a lot of stuff's coming up. We will cover that, and we will talk about it on next Wednesday, here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and all that good stuff. So, Darryl, you're a big DC fan. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask you to be right now.
I've never been a big where I actually watch the cons, or at least the virtual cons and stuff like that. But I think I'm really looking forward to this one. I think I'm going to take the time and try to, at least, if not, try to catch something of it on YouTube or wherever I can.
Well, I look forward to seeing it. Well, in that case, will you be a guest next week on the show? Because I think you'll do very well on this. And I'm going to watch as much as I can as well. It's free streaming. The streaming is free. One thing about fandom I like is that, it's online, it's free, doesn't cost you anything, which I think is great. And I think they first started this a couple of years back, especially when the pandemic just started. And it was such a big hit. They had others. I think E3 tried to do it. Comic-Con tried to do it. And the critics came out and talked about how fandom just hit it right on the nail. the perfection of doing it online. Of course, they had a lot of post-production and a lot of stuff on Comic-Con, and I believe on the E3 it was on the fly, so that could be a lot too. And you can just spend so much time watching this stuff, on Zoom. I mean, there's just so many Zoom conferences and meetings you can see, especially if you're working from home with all this stuff that's going on. But let's get to some other stuff. Big news today. Big news. And
How big?
Oh, how big?
How big?
Is this big, my friend?
Whoa!
this big. That's what you didn't even know that was going to come. That's what she said. So anyway, oh my goodness, I didn't even mean it. That was not meant to be. That not what I. Anyway, our good friend Ricky. Now I can't talk. William Shatner he has actually went up to space. He's there, my friends. They just launched not too long ago. I'm expecting he's probably back down again.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I haven't got any information on, because Shatner didn't call me right back and say, "Hey, Mike, this is what happened." Do you guys have any information on any comments he made on the way back? Not on the way back, but when he got back.
He had an interview when he got back, and he was just overcome with emotion. It was obviously very meaningful to him, having played Captain Kirk for so long, but to actually get to go into space, and he was extremely grateful.
Yeah,
he was weeping at points. It was very moving to hear him talk about it.
I think it would be. I mean, think about it. This has been our captain for so long. I mean, the original, yes, Pike, but as far as America's concerned, he's our first, Enterprise captain and space captain. And so I can just, being this character for so long that he's played and being at the conventions and how much he's embraced this character, him actually getting to go to space. I think it's pretty incredible. And I think it's just significant for him too, because, all the writing is about, being up in space and being in a whole different, looking back to the Earth. And he got to experience that at least as much as a civilian can experience right now. So, but it's like a 15-minute jaunt up, isn't it? I was reading. Yeah, I think it's about 15 minutes. You're going up in the stratosphere, and then I don't know if it's about 15 minutes up and then back down. If anybody out there can give us a comment. By the way, if you're watching right now, thank you for watching. Please comment, shout, hey, your name, or just say, hey, I'm from blah, blah, from India, from England, from Scotland, Dallas, anywhere. Just give us a shout out and we'll shout back at you. But yeah, that's right.
Inquiring minds want to know.
I'm what's up? There's Ricky Pope. Hey, from the toilet. Welcome, Ricky Pope. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Ricky.
I just shat myself. Yeah.
And also, but I don't want to leave it.
Is there a Ricky cam?
No. He made me remove it.
Oh.
But also too, hey, William Shatner, we are so glad you finally. That's right. Thank you. So next on our news, I had being a Marvel fan, you've heard about this, right? They're working on a spinoff for Agatha.
Really?
That's what we've been. Yeah. From my understanding.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
She's awesome. She can do it.
Yep.
She could carry a show all by herself.
Oh, I mean, she's brilliant. Yeah. I mean, from Nerdist.com, they talked about how Marvel is looking at doing a spinoff off of Catherine Hahn's character. I hope so, because it's kind of like with Loki. They can go a whole lot of different directions with this, you know, and she's talented enough to do it. You know, it's funny if they do bring her out, it's like this whole anti-hero type of thing that's going on. So, you know, here you got Loki and then you have Agatha, and you kind of wonder what they're going to do with the character. Any guess if they do this, where they might take it, if they might link it to any other future films or movies or TV?
I would see, if anything, you might see references to Doctor Strange. You might see references to, of course, you know, some obviously other sorcerers, other magic worlders in the Marvel, you know, universe. I would be interested to see early stuff of her, like go back to, you know, the Salem times, or you know, wherever we got the flashbacks of her in the past. Let's go back there and build that story.
That's a great idea.
And move up to be like, okay, what exactly caused these other witches to do this? You know, why were they trying to seal her power, or steal her power, whatever they were doing, and then go from there.
I think that would help just mainstreamers who who don't really understand the context of the comics. At least get an understanding of who she really is. That's a great idea. I have never thought of that, but yeah, I mean, doing something with the past in kind of a flashback, I mean, Marvel's done that kind of stuff before, and I think that would be awesome. So hopefully this is the real deal. Again, this is coming from the Nerdiest, which usually is pretty reliable, but right now they're kind of, you know how Feige is. He keeps he likes to tease. And so we'll see whether or not, speaking of teasing, and what's the deal? What's the deal with Marvel? Look like Disney and Marvel's trying to file a lawsuit. Apparently, I guess the U.S. copyright, apparently the heirs of the actual 5 Marvel authors, actually it's now open for grabs. They're no longer copyrighted. And so what that means is that all the content in the Marvel universe that Disney has is up for grab. And they can still make money off of it, but the Marvel universe is up to grab. So right now, Disney is working hard to actually block the heirs of the comic books from reclaiming the copyright.
Yeah, so, I read about this. Stan Lee's family, I guess, is involved in
it. Now, I don't want to spread rumors and stuff, but I don't know if Stan Lee had a great relationship with his family or not. Was there some stuff going there? Because I was hearing I was hearing some stuff later in his life where Mr. Lee wasn't being treated very well, and so. Which is kind of sad because he's from my understanding, he's just an awesome individual. But I know I miss him. Also too, aren't they talking about, you know, they used to have Stan Lee, you know, his small cameos in each movie. I thought there were talks about having Deadpool doing those cameos now. Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, I heard. I think it was something like Ryan Reynolds said he would like to do Deadpool and have Deadpool do it all. And then I think it was kind of fan thing kind of picked up on it. Like the fans picked up on it. Then Ryan Reynolds was like, yeah, that would be awesome. Like I would play Deadpool forever if I could do that. And so, but I don't know if it's an actual thing that's going to happen. If they do it, it would be like the single greatest thing Marvel can do because of the, you know, because he breaks the fourth wall so many times in comic books and everything else that it just makes sense to have Deadpool randomly show up in some random stupid scene in every Marvel movie, and he's sitting there looking at the and have to do something stupid like looking at the audience and be like, y'all see that? Did y'all just see,
Yeah.
the Hulk, just rip this car in half and he's sitting on the car kind of thing? And
well, I mean, they can have they can have like, a chase, and then all of a sudden they go past his ice cream cart, and here he is dressed up like the ice cream man, and just that real quick like that. But it would have to be the right movie for that, to set the right tone. So, I mean, not Venom or something like that. So it would, who knows? That might be good. I don't know. But anyhow, on that, but back to a little bit on the lawsuit. What do you think? Give me your opinion what the outcome is going to be. I mean, do you think Marvel, because this is the thing for me is, okay, if everything's out for grabs, okay, we're talking about Stan Lee's stuff as well, okay, we're talking about Spider-Man. So do you think this be an opportunity for Marvel and Disney to take that back? I mean, that's a thought. I don't, I mean.
The whole thing is the whole thing's complicated, to be honest, like just everything about it, because you would think, yes, if Stan Lee, for instance, of course, he, is a creator of all this stuff, but he created that through Marvel. Well, because he's gone, doesn't all that property remain with Marvel? Like that's what I would think. Because that's who he created it through. Like it's not like it's his personal art or it's his personal stuff that he released that now somebody just has randomly done. No, everything he did was through Marvel. So like, just because I pass away and I worked on an oil rig doesn't mean I get to take the oil rig with me, or my family gets to come and take the oil rig.
Well, I mean, well, that makes total sense. I think it's just really complicated. I mean, at one point, there was a time of the contract where these comic book authors, they had, given these, or at least this time to these studios. And now I guess after a certain amount of time, it goes back to the heirs. It's all open that they can take it back. Let's go ahead and Ricky Pope, who I guess he had an opportunity to flush. If the Ditko family gets Spider-Man, Marvel could swing in a license and out of it from under Sony. That's right. Yeah. Man, I'm glad he wiped fast for that one. That's exactly what I wanted to see. So just anyway,
keep it flowing. Just
keep it flowing. That's right. Moon River. So so that's pretty much all we're going to talk about on the this week's news. Anything else on top of that before we go to another segment? Anything new? Swipe left. Yes, right. Swipe. That's right. Use thick. My suggestion, Ricky, use thick ply. So, bam, bam, bam. Okay. Well, I guess it's time. And hey, I'm going to let you, Florida man, introduce the stupid news. How about that? Use your radio voice or your unradio voice.
Stupid news?
Yeah, you know how that works, right?
Let's see.
Yeah, I'm going to have I hit the video. There we go. Okay, here we go. And now for the stupid news, since the Florida man does not know how to unmute his microphone. My name is Mike Schilling. And it's let's talk about some stupid news. I kind of told. I guess it would have helped if I told you that. You did.
I nailed it.
It was good. It was that good.
Great. Yeah. You sounded just like Mike. It was so.
I know. He has like
I sounded like
it. The way you projected yourself. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, the way you projected your face
like a
through your mic.
You did. Yeah. You did. It was awesome. Well, guys, in situations, and I've been there too, where you're on the traffic and you're drinking water right now, Darryl, and you're on traffic and you had too many liquids and you have a traffic. Hey, let's give a shout out to, I can't read that. My mind is, read that for me, Todd.
I think it's either Adria or
Adria.
I'm gonna say it's Adria because
Adria.
I can't.
That's right, Adria. We love Adria from. It's not even stupid news and already poop jokes.
She's
Thank
in Arkansas.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, we love her. She's part of our group, and I always try to make sure I don't. Oh, there's Ricky
Ricky's
Pope.
laughing at you.
Either laughing or he's
She's
anyway.
laughing at me.
That's right. So yeah. So speaking of that, a lot of times you're out on traffic. I know I had too much consumption on the way home, and you got a traffic jam, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I've got to go, and so you're kind of at the mercy of traffic flow. Speaking of flow, and so is Ricky Pope. He's at mercy of flow himself. So, and maybe Ricky can do this. An Ontario man calls 911 because he's stuck in traffic and has to go pee. That's right. A police officer in Ontario has released 911 audio after a man called the emergency line to report he had to go pee and he was stuck in traffic. When the 38-second call begins, the operator asks the man if he needs the police, fire, an ambulance. He first said he needs an ambulance, but then he tells the operator that he actually needs to pee. Actually need the police. The same. The thing is that I have to pee, and these guys are not moving. The caller tells the operator, "This is your emergency call," and the operator responds, "This is not what it's for." And then the guy replies back, "But I have to pee. I need the police. I need to urinate." So
I think he should have a police escort.
I think so too. And then the caller repeats several times, he has to pee. I have to pee. And I guess eventually, the police came and picked him up, apparently not to help him to pee, but he's doing some time now in court, in jail, and I'm sure he has a bunch of friends around him that will help him pee.
I'm pretty sure he probably peed himself when the police.
Probably, yes, exactly.
There have been a few times leaving, eating at some local Chinese restaurants that I wish I had a police escort home because it's gotten close. Yeah.
Oh man, I hope Ricky's listening. I hope we're comforting him with some of the LOL. Geez, yes, that's right. Boy, this is
a lot of potty humor tonight.
That's right. Yeah, it's going down the tubes quickly.
Because Ricky's not here.
Now, this is something else, and let me go up here and see if I can find this. We all know this little character, right? The gecko from Geico. But apparently a situation has arrived where a woman is seeking $1 million from Geico. You may ask why? Because she was involved in an incident with another gentleman whose vehicle was covered by the insurance provider. Oh, you want me to continue? Well, I can do that. She's suing Geico because she hooked up with a guy in the back seat of his Hyundai and got STDs as a result. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. She feels the needs that Geico owes her payment because this guy has a policy with them.
Would that be covered under PIP?
I don't know.
Personal injury protection.
Oh, I thought that was another STD, but no, I don't know if that is or not. But Geico filed a counter lawsuit to get the entire case dismissed, adding that their car insurance only covers injuries that happen out of their ownership, maintenance of use of the car. The situation doesn't sound like it's going to fit into any category, though the judge has not made a ruling yet.
No, that'd be covered under collision insurance.
I don't know. Would that be like, I guess you can't cover it under rust. Rust is something else. Yeah. Anyway, we need to move on from here. The next one is what an appropriate evening. I mean, this is a tribute to our good friend Ricky Pope, who's on the highway of the throne. I mean, that man, he is he's living large. Well, I don't even know how to begin this, but we're going to meet a man who's very famous. He's known throughout the world. He has superpowers as well. Mr. Methane. That's right. Mr. Methane is his name. He's the world-renowned entertainer who, as the name suggests, has a very special talent when it comes to passing wind. That's right. All of his superpowers, one could have farting at will, probably isn't the one you would pick. And yet one of the few people known to be able to control their flatulence has managed to build a career about his ability. Isn't that something? How you doing, Ricky? You doing okay hanging in there with us? Okay.
Mr. Methane.
Mr. Methane. Ooh. Yes, apparently yet one of the few people known to be able to control their flatulence. His name is Paul Oldfield, a.k.a. Mr. Methane, discovered his unusual talent for farting as a teenager. Interesting. And eventually managed to use it in a way to make a living. The Englishman currently holds the record of the most farts released in 1 minute. Boy, that kind of outdid your dad there, Darryl. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Quite a bit.
Well, but is also known for performing popular songs by farting and various other tricks. While attempting his...
But can he do the alphabet?
He probably can. While attempting the lotus position, he realized the... Oh no.
Why is the introduction of yoga make that so funny? I don't know.
I do. It just is. Oh my goodness. I forgot where I was at.
That's one yoga position I haven't tried yet.
Oh my goodness.
Reason.
We're sorry, Adria.
Oh, anybody who's listening, we apologize right away. Okay, let's see where I left off at before hurting. Yeah, he discovered his superpowers as a teenager while doing some yoga exercises with his sister. And that's when he was attempting to do the lotus position. He realized that he could inhale and exhale through both ends of his body. How you doing, Ricky, on the throne right now?
Going in hell.
Yeah. So that's something else. So anyway, while attempting the load, blah blah blah. Let's see here. But farting Superman didn't come by Mr. Methane until later in his life. He originally trained to become a train conductor. And sometimes entertain his colleagues with his skills, but decided his calling was to share his talent with the world.
Sounds like it should have been the train horn instead of the conductor.
Yeah,
that's right. In the late 1980s, Mr. Methane started performing as an opening act for local music bands and other personality acts. He has produced musical parodies of famous songs, including Phil Collins' "In the Air Tonight."
I think one of the bands he opened for was called The Gas.
And has made appearances on shows like Britain Got Talent and German's Da Supertalent. Yes, that's right. I have a couple of, and if you haven't seen some of his acts, here's some clips from YouTube where we can only do picture by picture. Of course, again, Mr. Methane, he is there. And here he's about to have some powder on his rear end. He's going to demonstrate his superpowers as he releases... Oh my goodness. Can you read that comment for me? I can't see it.
Says, I love it. Gotta have a sense of humor. And Ricky, right before that, Ricky said, it's so funny, I can't hold it in.
The next attempt, as you can tell, with a microphone up his bum. He prepares to do a couple of songs that we talked about earlier. The next one he powders up again. And the next one here, his next trick, as he powders up, you see there's a birthday cake, and he blows out the candles. Would you like him to be at your kid's birthday party? Yes.
That's a brave soul being that close to that much methane with an open flame.
Hold up a sec. We need to go back a little bit.
Yeah. Which going back
Okay,
here?
let's say you're the next act that comes out after Mr. Mason.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the host
Yes.
is interviewing you with the microphone
Yes.
that he just had.
That's where you do.
Are you gonna snap your neck, jerking your head back?
That's when you'll do social distancing, my friend. And that was stupid. And that's Mike Schilling. That's me, Stupid News. And we hope Ricky Pope, he will enjoy these little things we just did for him. It's all dedicated to him tonight, even though we didn't know that he was going to have the rummy tummies. So we're going to talk about it. Let's get to it. These are the movies that tried to be like Star Wars, but failed. And where you guys want to start? I mean, I'm kind of thinking to myself,
I got a bad feeling about this.
I know we do. We have a bad feeling too about this from the very beginning. So let's start out with the first one. I think the one that tried so hard to be a Star Wars movie and just failed epically. I think it's the.
Oh God, that's perfect.
Yeah. So okay, we'll just that was just a gimme there. So anyway, but the next one is The Last Starfighter, and I remember watching this a long time ago.
I love this movie.
I mean, again, we talked about an epic fail, but we're not talking about if it was a bad movie. It's just at the time, especially in the late 70s or early 80s, everyone's trying to cash in on the Force, and some of it's
Even
very
Methane
blatant.
Man.
Yeah, Methane Man did.
Yeah.
But anyway, it had to do with, correct me if I'm wrong, about a young boy wanting to be a pilot, and he goes to the video arcade, and that's what the video arcade is kind of a training ground to find out who would be a great fighter pilot. And then all suddenly he gets recruited to be the last starfighter. I mean, it was really different. It was different for the time. Do you remember the movie at all, Todd?
Oh, it's one of my favorite movies. Especially the Death Blossom scene.
Yeah.
You know, at the end. The similarities between Star Wars and Starfighter. Let's take one of the things I guess you would say would be the clones, because the pilots in the drone fighters were all the same.
Yeah.
Animal.
Yeah, exactly.
But the guy that played the Lizard co-pilot, he was awesome.
Yeah, they had he had his own mentor, of course. You know, most of these movies do when you're a young person. But anyway, that was anyhow. It wasn't a failure in my book. I loved the movie, but it is on the list of movies that have tried their best to be Star Wars, and they just kind of, it's not what they are.
Another movie that movie fed off of was Iron Eagle.
You know, there was another movie that had Clint Eastwood in it, and it was like Starfighter, Firestar. It was an old movie with Clint Eastwood in it. And
Firefox.
Firefox, that's right. I don't know why that came to mind. I guess 80s aviation, but yeah. The next one is a blatant ripoff, but it's not that bad. The Battle Beyond the Stars, which it's interesting.
This is one I haven't seen. Like this was one that was on the list that I was like, man, I haven't seen this one yet, so I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah,
you need to watch it. It was epic.
From and of course, again, I'm reading from IBDM on some of this stuff. But what's interesting is they took a lot from some of the things that George Lucas was. They took a lot from the Hidden Fortress. They John Boy, that's right, John Boy. If you remember him from help me out here. What was that? Oh, come on. The Waltons. That's right. The Waltons, 1970s, the Waltons, early 80s. John Boy was in that. But actually, and also, believe it or not, the special effects was from James Cameron. in that movie. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Yep.
Yeah, I had
Yes.
read that, and it was one of his earliest movies, I guess, working with CGI and stuff.
Also, too,
Early
A-Team,
CGI.
pre-A-Team, George Papard is in it, and Robert Vaughn. He's also in it. I guess George Papard plays kind of a Han Solo. Apparently, they equipped with a sarcastic female spaceship with. Okay, I'm not going to repeat that. But yeah. So anyway, but I've heard that it's really good. I can remember just barely a little bit of it. It's going to be a rewatch for me, definitely. The next one is, and man, I remember playing the video game in the '80s, but it's Krull. Have you?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of a
another good one.
cross between Dune and Star Wars in a way. It's kind of one of those, again, an '80s kids type of kind of a movie. What's They had cool weapons, kind of like a lightsaber. They had it's kind of like almost the same story of fighting against an empire. But that's one
That was a theme that I saw a lot. Is there was always an emperor or the
yeah,
empire or
Yeah.
something that they're all fighting in and trying to recapture this magic. But like I
yeah,
said earlier, on their own, they're good movies. Some of them are good movies on their own, but once
yeah.
you add them up, they just don't add up.
And that's the thing. They're all trying to take the same storyline. Now, George Lucas, yes, he took from others, but it was some of the 1940s type of 30s serial actions movies he would look at. For the dogfights, he actually looked at old World War II aerial cameras where they were doing dogfights with gunners and stuff like that. Remember the scene in the Millennium Falcon where, they're trying to, outrun the Empire, and, they're in those gun turrets. And that's exactly where he's got a lot of that from that footage that he tried to recreate. Also, too, his love for, the Hidden Fortress, another great samurai movie. So, but what Lucas did, he took all these things, put them together, and he made something special. And I remember listening to Carrie Fisher at the time when she was reading these parts. She says, "Who writes like this?" She said, "Who writes?" Especially if it was a scene she was talking to Vader, or talking about unleash your dog. Very, very, I guess, old school type of English, but. Totally a different dialogue, because in the 1970s they were really into realism, and as time got on, as time went on, I think sci-fi revived with Star Wars. But a next one that I enjoyed, I know it's Ricky Pope's one of his favorites, is The Black Hole.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Again, it's another situation. Disney, they try to cash on Star Wars, which is funny. Now they own Star Wars. But yeah, they jumped on that. And of course, it's funny because they kind of took the whole robot thing, the R2D2 type of robots. They were, I enjoyed it. It was really on the dark side. Even though the Disney tried to cash into the whole Star Wars thing, it kind of was like in the middle. It was too dark for the kids, but a little too silly for the fans of Star Wars. So it was kind of hanging in the middle there. Any your impressions on The Black Hole? I'm not talking about Ricky Pope, but I'm talking about on the show, the movie itself.
I remember seeing this one, and the only things that I can remember about this thing was the droids, and thinking like, yeah, this is a direct, like, they're just trying too hard to be Star Wars.
Yeah.
And because that's all it was. Like, I was like, yeah, but there's R2 and 3PO, they're not even trying. Like, come up with something new.
I think that's the biggest problem with some of these. They try too hard to mimic Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to take the concept, the supernatural, good versus evil, even the whole sword and lightsaber kind of thing. But I think at the same time, Ricky Pope says the best SFX next to Star Wars. I agree with that. but do your whole, like you said, do your own thing. You take these concepts, but make it your own, and that's okay.
Exactly.
A lot of movies have done that, and there's nothing wrong with that. The next one, I'm not very familiar with. Is called Saturn. The only reason I really brought it up, of course, it was a major bomb in 1980, but the cast is what got my attention. It's Kirk Douglas, Harvey Keitel, and Farrah Fawcett. And so it's pretty weak special effects it talked about. Try to imitate Ridley Scott's Alien. And it was very violent. It was a rated R thriller, but I was interested because they had those stars at the time, and the movie did not do well at all. The next one I'm going to let you guys comment on is Masters of the Universe.
Oh, I love Masters of the Universe so much, from the toys to the animated series, like everything about He-Man, like that. We were all about it. And then this movie, it's a fun movie. It really is. It's kind of fun. It's cheesy. It's not Masters of the Universe.
Exactly.
They just took it and they're like, oh, Star Wars. Oh, yeah, let's do that, but with this guy wearing a loincloth. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, Dolph.
And they didn't spend any money on it.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah. That's probably why it did so bad. Was because they didn't invest any money into the effects. It was just they're shooting it in Main Street, USA.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a shame because the franchise itself was so popular in the 1980s. Dolph
Lundgren.
Yes, and he played, of course, he played in Rocky also as the villain in, I think it was Rocky 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting.
Or was it 2?
Dolph.
I don't know. Yeah.
Did you know that he has like a PhD?
Yeah, Rocky 3.
That he's brilliant.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's smart, super smart. Like he talks about being the smartest person on set, and always being the smartest person on set, and everybody's gonna look at him like this big giant of
Yeah, exactly.
Meat,
exactly.
Like, he's a meat sack. He doesn't have a brain, but apparently he's extremely smart.
Very smart.
Apparently
I don't know if you know this or not, Darryl, but Netflix has a sequel movie, animated movie to Masters of the Universe. That's out now.
As a sequel to it's a sequel to the actual movie itself,
yes. Well, it's a sequel to the series.
Oh, to the series, not to the actual 19. Okay, gotcha. I got. Yeah, I mean, Netflix.
It's pretty good. It's more of a serious animation versus a silly one. So it's on my watch.
They've kind of done that. Netflix has. They've taken some animated series, they brought them in, and they've made them more serious, which I enjoy and I like. It's more of a mature level. Of course, again, we were the kids watching the shows, so it makes a lot of sense that it grows with its audience. So I enjoyed it too, and I remember all the toys as a kid too. So the next one is Space Raiders. I have never seen it. But as you can tell, it kind of feels like a Han Solo type of, I don't know, Firefly type of look to it. I have never seen it. Space Raiders. Have you ever come across that, Todd?
I don't think I've ever seen that, but I think that kid on the left there is that Bobbit from Battlestar Galactica? Kind of looks like.
It does kind of have that look. Let me see here. Our good friends at IMDb. Let's take a look here what they got going on here. Space Raiders. Let's see what they have in Space Raiders 1983. Let's see here. Let's look at the cast and crew on that one. Vince Edwards. None of the people that I know of. No, a lot of. I don't even see any B actors that I know of on this. So,
is The guy sitting in the co-pilot's chair didn't realize they were filming at the time.
Oh yeah, as he has like some chew.
He was knocking one back.
It looks like it. Yeah, he looked like he had some chew in his mouth too. The next one here we're going to talk about is Star Crash. Now that's not a blatant ripoff, but at all.
I remember seeing just bits and pieces of this, and just over the years, and every time I see it, it's just I can't believe how somebody thought those outfits looked like they should be on TV. Like that is horrible.
Logan's Run meets something.
Well, the thing about it is, and we talked about this before the show, Todd, that this is actually an Italian sci-fi.
It is.
And
like
guess
spaghetti sci-fi. So
and guess who's on it? The Hasselhoff. Yeah. He is on it as well. And you were telling me too, which is kind of funny, one of the main characters of the first Star Wars, Christopher Plummer, is in it.
Yeah, and he's a hologram.
He's a hologram.
You know how Princess Leia was?
Yeah.
You know how they do the hologram communication?
Yeah, so Tarkin was a hologram in Star Crush. That's Star Crash. Sorry, not Crush. Yeah, so anyway, it did terrible. I mean, it just bombed. Of course, so
it has
I think
lightsabers.
But I think it's interesting, Italian sci-fi. But again, if you think about it, a lot of Italian films, they had like spaghetti westerns. They had like Clint Eastwood and stuff like that.
Oh, Adrian just nailed it.
What's that?
Reminds the outfits.
Yeah, it does.
Like V. That's exactly right.
That is, I even know that. That's the next one is Star Chasers: Legends of Orin. I've never seen this before. It's an animated series.
This is one I wanted to look up. Like I hadn't seen it, but after reading about it and stuff, I was like, okay, I want to look into this because it looks pretty cool. Like it's supposed to be one of the first blends of traditional cartoons and using computer graphics and stuff at the same time.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it's a different type of animation they first started using. It was released 3 years after Return of the Jedi, and they have a sword, which is, looks like a lightsaber. Basically, it's, of course, it's mystical swords, space pirates, all of that in this. I mean, it's, I think at one point for Star Chasers, they actually, they had pretty good reviews for a while. But unfortunately, it did not last very long. So, but yeah, I don't know. Is this be one of the things you saw Funimation, or you would think Crunchyroll, or do we know?
I don't think it's. I don't think it would be something like that because it's not
really anime, is it?
Right? It's not really anime, and so that'd be one of those weird, obscure things you find like randomly on Hulu, like in the movie section that you just something like that, or maybe like one of the other like Paramount Plus or something.
Exactly.
Another streaming service, and that they just happen to have it just because they bought the rights to, Viacom's little sisters, cousins, neighbors.
Yeah.
This next one,
the movie's available on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Movies on YouTube.
Check it out.
The next one the next one we're very familiar with, and as a kid I loved it. Battlestar Galactica. This is the 1978. Glenn Larson, he's actually the producer of the show. He saw Star Wars for the first time, and he said, we've got to make something like this, a gigantic space opera, and we have to, I think it will translate well into a small screen. Well, apparently Fox heard that too, and apparently Battlestar Galactica only lasts one season because they were afraid of a lawsuit from Fox, saying that they basically, and really, if you think about it, I don't see of everything that we've seen, that is the least comparison I see between Star Wars and Battlestar Galactica. It's totally different. as far as I'm concerned. Disagree? Agree?
The only thing I would say is anywhere similar to me would be that
Yeah.
it's in space and that it's military, like the military aspect of it. That it was very
Yeah.
The storyline was totally
militaristic.
different.
Yeah.
Yep,
Well, I
that
think it
is-
has a lot to
everything else
do.
is different.
I think it has a lot to do about a moneymaker on ABC or whatever. I think it was ABC it was on, and a moneymaker on a network station where Fox says, we're going to get some money from them.
Now, we're talking about 20th Century Fox,
Yes.
not
Yeah.
Fox.
No, 20th Century Fox. No.
Because
This
the
20.
lawyer from Fox just contacted me and said,
Oh, sorry about
knock it
that.
off.
No, sorry about that. No, this is not fake news. So, no, this is from 21st Century Fox. And this is what, and basically, again, this was one of their lawsuits. There was a couple of them that they did, but this was one that was well known in the news. And of course, we have Lauren Green in it. So who doesn't like Paul from Bonanza flying a Starship cruiser? Yes,
Right.
sir. You have something you want to say.
Well,
I see it in your
things.
eyes.
The first thing is the 2004 reboot sucked.
Okay, wait a minute. I don't want to lose numbers from this because we might have some fans out there. Okay, that is his opinion does not relate or
Now I will say this: the
Something Speaking
storyline,
podcast.
the storyline with the ship, the people that were
Yes.
kind of like angels,
Yeah,
that was pretty cool. But all the stuff that they shot on Earth,
yeah,
it was like, we don't have the money for the space budget stuff.
yeah.
So all the stories are going to be on the ground, 1970s kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now, what did you guys think of the most recent reboot?
Are you talking about the one we just had on the Sci-Fi Channel, or are you
Yes.
talking about?
Yeah.
I didn't get into it because it was so. I thought it was going to have. I wanted something with the feel of the TV show, even though it was one season. So I didn't really get into it myself. Like I said, I knew a lot of people who loved it. But for myself, it didn't really. Let's just say it didn't last with me. And it's not. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's great. It just did not appeal to me.
Darryl, what about you?
Yeah, yeah, it didn't hook me. The same thing with the 2004 reboot of it. It was one of those, like, I have sat down and tried to watch so many times, and
Yeah.
I can't get hooked. Like I don't know, like Star Trek. I can sit down and any Star Trek comes on and I'm instantly hooked, and I'm like, okay,
Oh
this,
yeah.
no. Like it just couldn't dig its claws into me, and
I'll be
so
honest,
it is one of those nerd things I never got into.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it took
same
me
here.
a season and a half to get. Once I got past a certain point and I
Mhm.
started to invest in the characters, then I was able to watch it, and actually was looking forward to seeing it when it came on. But it took a while. It was like a slow roll.
Yeah.
You know, I had to be really patient with it. So say we all.
And your dog. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally
Yeah,
agrees.
that's Ozzy. Yeah, he totally agrees.
That's
this is-
Ozzy.
That's Ozzy. Yes,
That's Ozzy?
He's a large dog. We're gonna kind of go through some things pretty quickly here. Jason of Command in 1978. It was just kind of the same vein of Buck Rogers kind of show. It was a Saturday morning space opera, but James Doohan was actually in it.
Really?
Our friend Scotty. I didn't realize that. That was one reason I mentioned it, because I thought, well, that's, we love the X. Actually, his ashes went out in space. So technically, if you look at it, he wasn't the first Trekkie. Shatner was he was the first live Trekkie in space. But anyway, let's.
He gave it all he's got.
Gave it all he's got. But
Yeah.
Gave it all
yeah.
he's got.
The next one is Message from Space. I hadn't seen this one.
This is the one where they send out the magical walnuts. Literally.
Yeah.
And
Magical walnuts.
Magical walnuts. Don't know what to say about that.
To seek out heroes to save the planet.
Magical walnuts. Well, there's so much I can go with that, and I'm not going to. The next one is, and I don't.
Gonna go to the next one.
Go on the next one. The next one is Flash Gordon, and Flash Gordon, of course, is based off of a 1920s, 30s comic book. So, in a way, actually George Lucas actually brought some things in from the comic book itself, but it kind of lended to one another. One of the greatest theme songs ever, Flash. Oh, yeah, that's enough. But
Figure of universe.
Yeah,
you like the part where he starts playing football?
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, he's a football player.
Bad guys,
yeah. I like that one. Again, I can see where they're talking about they may have some Star Wars influence, at least for the 1970s. This next one, I'm going to the next one. I'm kind of going through here, but this is one I want on my list here. Give me a minute here because this is something I definitely want to have on my radar. Let's see here. This is what happens when your lists are not. Oh yes, here we go. This is what I'm going to put on my list here. It's Laser Blast, 1979. It's a low B movie. Low B movie
Very
following that. It looks like a deranged Luke Skywalker as he flies around the galaxy on a killing rampage. 1978's Laser Blast was meant to be a gritty version of Star Wars. Unremarkably in its time, the film gained new recognition after making an appearance on the hit television series Mystery Science Theater 3000. That makes me want to find that.
I want to see it on Mystery Science Theater because that's going to be the best way to watch that movie.
Can you believe the podcast wife? That's one of her favorite shows. Believe it or not, someone who's not sci-fi.
I can believe that.
Yes, so
that's something. It. Like it's one of the greatest things ever to be able to sit there and watch. Them make fun of these old movies like that. It's so good.
Well, and you get and it normally older movies that you wouldn't sit down and watch yourself.
Yep.
But you actually watch it, and it's like you're watching with a bunch of people, some friends watching it and making fun of it.
Yeah, I got an idea.
Yes.
Let's the three of us go to a movie, an actual movie, and do what they did during the movie.
I think we win a lot of friends that way, or maybe not have a whole lot of friends that way. The next one is... it's called Message. I guess it's Message from Space 1978. We talked about that one already, but this was a shot that I wanted to show here. It looks like the gorilla that, I guess to the right, it looks like the gorilla that, at a mall that's waving people in. But yeah, this is...
It's a cross between a gorilla and a Wookiee.
Yeah, and in the middle, it's... so don't know make it. And the man who saved, I don't know if it's a Snooki or not, but the man who saved the world. You got a little info. Do you have a little information on that, Todd?
It's like a Turkish version of Star Wars.
Yeah, it's billed as a Turkish Star Wars. Yeah.
Yes, and there was actually a sequel to this, believe it or not, called Turks in Space.
Oh well.
Apparently this movie was so bad and it had ripped off Star Wars so much. But because it was so bad, they literally didn't take any legal action against it because it was just terrible.
That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. They said, "Nah, we don't even want to be associated with that in a lawsuit." But real quick, I'm gonna kind of go through a list. I'm gonna skip a couple of them. One is, of course, Aliens, kind of a horror. I guess and again, these are not bad movies. These are actually movies that have been influenced by Star Wars. So we're kind of done with the whole fell part. This is more movies that done really well. The next one you may be saying, why The Dark Knight? Well, apparently the whole idea of Bane's mask was actually was an inspiration of Darth Vader, and that's at least what. Excuse me. That's at least what. You guys help me out here. I don't know what I'm doing
Was
here.
it Christopher Nolan?
Yes, Christopher Nolan.
And that what he had said, that he had drawn inspiration for Bane's mask from Vader's respirator. And
Exactly.
the way Bane talked, the way he breathed. And then they said he wanted him to have that weird, almost the same kind of backstory-ish kind of thing, betrayal and, stuff like that.
The next one, and Todd brought up a good point. The other one is Galaxy of the Guardians. They made a comment about Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah.
He's like a younger, even more nerdier Han Solo.
Yeah. Now, you made a good point. When did Guardians of the Galaxy comics come out? Do we know? Was that because we want to make sure I think it's post Star Wars.
Yeah, I think it is too.
It is.
So,
it's late '80s, early '90s. I believe is when when the Guardians were introduced.
Okay, yeah, that seems. Now the next one, I'm not. There's no hate. Okay, I hope people understand that. There's a Star Trek, but J.J. Abrams. So hold your horses here. J.J. Abrams actually took. He talked about how he took a lot from his love of Star Wars and kind of drug it into Star Trek, at least the J.J. Abrams versions of it, kind of keeping a more of a faster pace, unlike Star Trek. That's more of a cerebral, open space opera type of thing. I mean, there's action, but there's a lot of build up to it.
Right.
Where, like in Star Wars movies, and of course, J.J. Abrams' version of Star Trek, there's a lot more action throughout the whole thing, which is interesting because it kind of takes me, I'm going to skip to it, but I was reading that Star Trek, the Wrath of Khan, which is one of the greatest ones. Actually, from my understanding from my reading, they kind of learned their lesson. Because the first motion picture was kind of cerebral. It was kind of real slow. It's kind of a very slow pace. There wasn't a whole lot of action.
It was
there.
more techie, less action, more techie stuff going on.
It was more highbrow type of sci-fi more than anything else.
The flyby on Beeger was never ending.
Yeah, and those outfits. Well, they had disco, but anyhow, no. But they learned their lessons. So Wrath of Khan, they've learned the lessons of that. And Wrath of Khan is like one of iconic Star Trek movies. So I only mention that.
Favorite.
Yeah, I only mention that because in correlation to J.J. Abrams, which no correlation as far as great or not. I'm just saying that. The whole idea of putting more action into the Star Trek universe versus, some of the previous, actually based off the 1960 versions, were kind of slow like that. They had some actions and stuff like that, but it's more diplomatic, explore, discovery type of a show, which is awesome. But I think they found out that moviegoers want a little action in their films. The next one, oh my goodness, one of my favorites from Firefly, Serenity.
Yes.
Totally. I mean, it's now I'm going to mention the other Fox. Fox, you're an idiot.
Yes. I love this series so much. I love the movie so much. Anything and everything Firefly. I hate the way it ended. I hate the way they had to make it end.
I hated that. I hated if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but it just crushed me, the person that had to die in the crew.
Yep.
And the way they did it seemed it felt very unheroic. It felt very needless. It felt me at the ending. I was empty because, and I understood he did it as a love letter for the fans, but Whedon, love letter for the fans, but I don't know.
There's a rumor it's going to get a reboot.
Yes, I saw that. That there's a rumor they're trying to get it redone. and I just hope they give it justice. That's
I
all
hope so
ask
too.
for, 'cause it's so
That
good.
show's got legs. The reason it failed was because they put it in a bad time slot to begin with and didn't advertise it.
Well, and you're getting on. Yeah, we're going to go over now because you're on my soapbox, because Fox doesn't know good anyway. Fox doesn't understand what talent is. After a season of, okay, well, we put a show competing with two major network shows, okay, and you wonder why the ratings are down, and then you only give it a year. And you don't give it any time. Like shows, it means like CBS and NBC with Seinfeld, they gave it some time. There's some other shows that gave it some time. I have a real beef with, and this is on another soapbox here. I have a real beef when networks cancel shows after 8 episodes that they've made 8 seasons out of, and they end up kicking them the curb. We're just going to cancel it. Okay, you made money for those 8 seasons. At least give them the dignity to write an ending to their show. Right. Anyway, I read an article this morning on some shows that they're canceling.
Does that too.
Netflix does that too. I was reading an article on all the shows are being canceled, and there was a couple of them that I thought, really, give them a chance. I mean, they made you some money. They made you some money because they made it for several seasons. Let them at least end it. It doesn't even have to be a full season, maybe a half a season. Give them at least 6 episodes. Throw them a bone. Do it for the fans.
Yeah, they at least gave a closing season to Lost in Space.
Yeah, well, that's good. And that's what they need to do on some of these. But on Serenity, and we can do a whole series on Firefly, an entire episode on that as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't have a problem if they brought in Nathan Fillion. I mean, what happens afterwards, where they're at now. I know some of the characters, a couple of them, of course, passed on, and bring back, I'm not going to mention it, but bring back that character somehow, bring him back somehow. They can do it.
And he has become one of my favorite actors too. If I see him,
he's awesome.
See him attached with anything, I'm immediately drawn to it. And
he's so brilliant.
Okay,
his name again, we don't have to add the character, but Tudyk. Tudyk is brilliant, and I love the relationship that him and Fillion have, because they both have a really good relationship, and and Tudyk is I don't know, I think he's underrated. Yeah. Underrated as an actor, and his contribution to sci-fi and to geekdom, period. Next is one of my favorite.
Speaking of Serenity, I was watching, y'all know the show Castle?
Yes.
Yeah.
Got Nathan Fillion in it. He's the author, writes books. Well, I was watching the Halloween episode, and he's notorious for in the series for throwing these epic Halloween parties.
Yeah.
So when he comes out to, everybody's doing their costumes, when he comes out to show him what he's wearing his outfit from Firefly.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Did you really? I used to watch that show.
So cool,
every
man.
time Oh,
and his daughter was like, "Oh, why are you wearing it?" He goes, "I like it. It's like a space cowboy." And I was like bouncing up and down on the sofa. It was so awesome, man. Anyway,
I love when they do that.
Yeah, make a nod on something they've done in the past. Well, like Ryan Reynolds, a nod to Green Lantern in the in the very beginning. I mean, it's so funny. Anyway, that's the next one is one of my favorites, and one of my favorite producers, Mel Brooks. Spaceballs.
I love this movie.
So many great one-liners in this movie. It's just one of the great Mel Brooks movies. A parody. I mean, he on purpose, but I think it's one of the funniest out there, parodies of, I got to show him again. Look at that. John Candy. Who doesn't love John Candy? Demi Moore is in it. She's very, Bill Pullman. Yes, Bill Pullman. And I can't remember her face. She was a comedian, late night talk show host for a while. She had I can't remember that. I can go IMDb, but it's not that important to me. The next one is Independence Day, which has a lot of influence in it. What do you think about this movie? I enjoyed it first when I watched it, at first. But what do you think?
I think it's a good movie. It's a good action movie.
Yeah.
It's a good, you know, it's a good movie that brings the entire globe together for, this, specific reason to obviously, survive. And I really I enjoyed it growing up. I thought it was a really good movie growing up. One of my favorite movies. Being a Marine, I love that. It was a Marine that was out kicking tail and doing all that stuff. So yeah, it really appeals to me. The reboot or the remake, the number 2, yeah, that's a completely different horrible story. But
Yeah.
I guess everybody I just played off getting kicked out of my own studio and coming back on. So thank you for just endlessly just streaming right into that. Thank you very much. Of course, I didn't have to say anything, but sure enough.
I was warming up to tell Darryl that we're co-host and host, and
we're taking over.
We're just going to take over the show. It's a hostile acquisition.
Yeah. And Ricky can't do anything because he's on the John. So
yeah.
Well, I think, man, we stuck with our 45 minutes tonight, so that's awesome. No, but no, we had a good time, and I knew this was going to go over just because there were so many things to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the big thing is that how Star Wars has influenced the industry. Not only that, but just everyday lives. I mean, I don't know if George Lucas or even the cast from New Hope, when they were doing this out in the middle of some desert, thought that this would have this kind of impact. But I mean, when you have an action figure made out of yourself, if you're getting to that point, if you hit something big.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorites. If I have to rank any nerddom, Star Wars is on my number 1 list. And then, you have your Marvel, DC, and some of that other stuff. But yeah.
I was going to say is before we had this huge move forward in CGI.
Yeah.
Star Wars took miniatures to a stellar level that had never been used before in movie making. And that, I think that art is being lost. That's something that is not really done so much anymore.
Yeah.
But if you've ever watched any of the shows where they show the making of, and
exactly. Yeah.
The one where they did the pod races.
Yeah.
And that whole arena of fans, the big stepped wall, that's a model. That they added CG characters to.
Well, I love, I watched some of the original, where they build the ships and they blew up the ships. And you think about it, Star Wars, Lucas was not given a whole lot of money to do any special effects. So you look in comparison to what he did compared to some of these others that were low budget. I mean, he had a vision and he ran with it and he figured out how to make it happen. So,
one thing he did very successfully with that too, with the special effects and stuff, is the people he brought in, he let them run with it because he knew they didn't have a lot of money. So he was like, do whatever you can, stretch whatever you can, give me whatever you've got. And they came back and obviously they killed it because, we're still talking about it and we're still arguing over, the dumbest things that come to Star Wars. And so,
well, it's different from early Disney animation with cell drawing compared, to, now it's all digital. So, that's basically what happened. We took models and and explosions and matches and fires like we did when we were kids playing with little green soldiers, and they made it in something outstanding. Well, I think we have totally hit beyond our time here, but I had a good time. I want to thank you guys for helping me out while Mr. Ricky Pope is, recovering from his major ordeal. So I'm going to close it out, and I want to tell everyone, thank you. Everyone, thank you for watching the show. Please continue to support us. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Twitch, Instagram, and we're on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, give us a like. And if you want to join, we also have this Speaking Nerdy group on Facebook as well. We'll have all those links available for you. So anyway, thank you, and we appreciate it. And remember, next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, we're going to talk about DC fandom. It comes this Saturday, or we're going to cover it, and we're going to talk about it this Wednesday. So thank you. This was something. I almost did it again. Ricky, where you at? Speaking Nerdy podcast with me, Mike Schilling. Ricky Pope is on the John right now, and thank you, Florida Man and Darryl. You know what? One of these days, I'm going to get our name right.
Yeah, one of these days.
One of these days when we change our name to something else. So
it'll be on the last episode.
It'll be on the last, and maybe this was the last episode.
It could be.